I'm grateful for the opportunity to address you here at Technation 2017. My name is Scott Roudy, and I'm a CPA with a background in engineering and science. As head of Global TMT Sector Group at BDO, I have the good fortune of working with a team of trusted advisors from around the world, providing a suite of services to innovative companies growing their international operations. We are witnessing exponential advances in digital technologies. And there is a consensus that we are in the process of ushering in a fourth industrial revolution. After many advances and setbacks over the past 60 years, recent developments in artificial intelligence have captured our imagination and have us asking the question, what industries will not be impacted? Concerns have also arisen regarding the prospect of AI ushering in significant automation and job losses in many sectors of the economy. Some have expressed concerns about the creation of an artificial superintelligence and our ability or inability to control such a thing. Intelligence amplification refers to the use of information technology to augment human intelligence. The idea was first proposed in the 1950s and 60s by pioneers in the fields of computer science and cybernetics. Artificial intelligence and intelligence amplification are two subjects that are intricately intertwined. And I would like to take the next 15 minutes to highlight some of the individuals and ideas that have contributed to these fundamental concepts. Over the last half century, advances in intelligence amplification, or IA, have been impressive. And I believe these tools and systems, including AI, will continue to evolve in ways that significantly enhance human reflection and decision-making. I also hope that this will allow us to develop novel solutions to some of the big challenges we face as a global society today. As Benjamin Franklin remarked in 1778, man is a tool-making animal, and so right he was. Shimon Peres spoke about appreciating a nation's greatest advantage, the mind, and our ability to push new frontiers in science and technology through creativity and innovation. Israeli culture is one of the reasons for this country's technological success. The obvious is challenged, forward-looking questions are asked, debates are lively and grounded in scientific principles, and innovation is the result. Steve Jobs was referring to a study on locomotion efficiency that placed human beings well down on a list of various species. When it was proposed that the efficiency of a human riding a bicycle be measured instead, this new combination moved us to the front of the pack. Jobs was implying that human cognitive ability is significantly enhanced when paired with a computer. Intelligence amplification proponents believe that information technology can supplement human thinking, placing us at the center of human-computer interaction, or HCI. Terry Winograd was a professor of computer science at Stanford University and co-director of the Stanford HCI group. He went into the field of AI research in the 1970s and developed an early natural language program that provided a spark to the AI community. Winograd later devoted himself not to making machines intelligent, but to making them better at helping human beings. Starting in 1995, Winograd served as an advisor to PhD student Larry Page, who was working on a research project involving web search. I think we can all agree that Google search engine epitomizes the approach of HCI. J.C.R. Licklider was a psychologist and computer scientist and is credited with the concept of a universal network whose power is greater than the sum of its parts. Sound familiar to anyone? Douglas Engelbart, a disciple of Licklider, was an engineer and inventor, best known for his pioneering work in the field of HCI. His work resulting in the creation of many fundamental elements of modern personal computing. These elements were on display at a technical conference in San Francisco in 1968, often referred to as the mother of all demos. His live demonstration featured the introduction of a complete computer hardware and software system and included elements related to Windows, hypertext, graphics, video conferencing, word processing, the computer mouse, and much more. Engelbart's personal vision was to multiply the power of people by creating systems that augment our intellect and creativity and to raise the human potential. It's interesting to note that 10 years after the demo, Steve Jobs bought the mouse patent from Engelbart's employer, SRI International, for $40,000. Claude Shannon was a mathematician and electrical engineer and is considered to be the father of information theory. He was a contemporary of computing pioneers such as John von Neumann and Alan Turing. Shannon is also known for founding digital circuit design theory when he was only 21 years old. In 1937, his 1937 master's thesis demonstrated that electrical applications of Boolean algebra could construct any logical numerical relationship. Some claim that this might have been the most important master's thesis of all times. Shannon and Turing were both applying principles of mathematical logic to create new powerful tools. Shannon mapping logic to the physical world, and Turing showing us how to design computers using the language of mathematical logic. Turing was working in a tradition stretching back to Gottfried Leibniz, a philosophical giant who in the 17th century envisioned a universal language of reasoning which could reduce argumentation to calculation so that, and I quote, there would be no more need of disputation between two philosophers than between two accountants. Let us calculate, he said. It's interesting to note that mathematical logic was initially considered a hopelessly abstract subject with no conceivable applications. And yet, it would provide the foundation for a field that would have more impact on the modern world than any other. This slide looks interesting, but I'm going to skip ahead for lack of time. Many believe that a fourth industrial revolution is underway and evolving at an exponential rather than linear pace. First water and steam power, and then electrical power mechanized and scaled industrial production. Electronics and information technology then automated it. As stated by Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum, the possibilities of billions of people connected by mobile devices with unprecedented processing power, storage capacity, and access to knowledge are unlimited. And these possibilities are being multiplied by technology breakthroughs in fields such as AI, robotics, the Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, and nanotechnology. This digital revolution is driven to a large extent by exponential advances in computing power and efficiency. Ray Kurzweil, a computer scientist and inventor, has expanded on Gordon Moore's 1965 theory to indicate that the exponential growth in price performance of computing goes back to the early 20th century when measuring computations per second in constant dollars. Einstein said in 1929, and I quote, "I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination encircles the world." I wonder what Einstein would say today about our human potential as the creation of knowledge and access to it encircles the world at an ever-increasing rate. This picture was taken at a conference in 2006 to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Dartmouth Artificial Intelligence Workshop that essentially gave birth to the field of AI. The 1956 brainstorming session gave succeeding generations of scientists their first sense of the potential for information technology to be of benefit to mankind in a profound way. Artificial intelligence, a phrase coined by John McCarthy at the 1956 conference, involves machines that can perform tasks that are characteristic of human intelligence. Machine learning is a subset of and a way of achieving AI. It is defined as the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Instead of hard-coding software routines with specific instructions to accomplish a task, machine learning is a way of training an algorithm by feeding it huge amounts of data and allowing the algorithm to adjust and improve itself. Deep learning is one of the many approaches to machine learning. It was inspired by the structure and function of the human brain, namely the interconnecting of many neurons. Artificial neural networks are structured as interconnected layers of neurons where each layer picks out a specific feature to learn, such as curves and edges in image recognition. Advances in machine learning resulting from enhanced computing power and access to large data sets have produced many surprising practical applications in recent years. It now seems almost commonplace that intelligent systems can surpass humans at skills such as image processing and speech recognition. AI is being deployed in many fields such as education, finance, medical diagnosis, self-driving vehicles, smart cities, and computer science. The possibilities seem almost endless. I'm proud of the many Canadian contributions to the field of AI. Geoffrey Hinton is a cognitive psychologist and computer scientist, most noted for his work on artificial neural networks. Hinton was one of the first researchers who demonstrated the use of generalized backpropagation algorithms for training multi-layer neural nets. He also happens to be the great-great-grandson of logician George Boole, whose work, as I mentioned, eventually became one of the foundations of modern computer science. Yoshua Bengio is a computer scientist most noted for his work on artificial neural networks and deep learning. He is head of the Machine Learning Laboratory at the University of Montreal and widely considered to be one of the pioneering researchers in the subfield of deep learning. Vibrant communities of AI researchers exist in Montreal and Toronto. In fact, Montreal, my hometown, currently has the highest concentration of deep learning PhDs in the world, which is attracting significant investment and partnership opportunities by some of the world's largest technology companies. In fact, there have been many recent visits to Israel by Montrealers and Canadians to talk about this great potential between our two countries. Although we are currently working with a relatively weak AI, the prospect of the eventual realization of artificial general intelligence has raised concerns. Efforts are currently underway to get a full understanding of what is at stake and to develop industry and ethical standards around AI development. We must focus on harnessing AI in an open and collaborative way. This will allow us to use technology to enhance our own reflection and decision-making rather than to substitute for it. Andrew Ng is a computer scientist who ran the AI research group at Baidu and founded the Google Brain project. Upon announcing his departure from Baidu earlier this year, Ng stated that he will continue his work in AI towards the transformation of our society and to identify ways to harness it to make life better for everyone. Characterization of AI as a partnership between humans and machines is prevalent today. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, and Ginni Rometty, CEO of IBM, have described this partnership as a way forward at the recent AI Forum at Davos 2017. Intelligence amplification uses technology to support human intelligence. Furthermore, this partnership has a long history of success, since all forms of information technology, from the abacus to writing to the internet, have been developed to extend the information processing capabilities of the human mind. Advanced chess is about amplifying human performance in partnership with technology. It was first introduced by Grandmaster Garry Kasparov after his defeat to IBM's Big Blue in 1997, with the objective of a human and computer playing as a team. Surprising levels of play have resulted, and in some cases, the human-computer team can surpass the ability of advanced chess software or a grandmaster in isolation. As we heard earlier today, Elon Musk's recently announced project called Neuralink is an effort to de-risk AI and create a whole-brain interface, or what Tim Urban has described as a wizard hat for the brain. Neuralink's mission is to use brain implants to connect human minds to computers and augment our slow and imprecise communication with a direct brain-to-computer link-up. The implant is ultimately Musk's attempt to augment human ability to compete with potentially advanced applications of artificial intelligence. We're going to have the choice of either being left behind and effectively useless, or eventually figuring out some way to be symbiotic and merge with AI, he said on his blog. With continuing HCI developments on the horizon, I'm sure we each have a wish list of our own. Mine? I would like a program to autocorrect for our natural human biases. After all, the mind seems to be a machine for jumping to conclusions, usually with an emphasis, unfortunately, on the short term. How about an augmented memory application to enhance prospection? Instant recall from a tagged database of past decisions, research, and accumulated knowledge. This could be useful as our brains are constantly sifting through information to generate predictions about the future. A As Engelbart proclaimed in 2005, if we don't get collectively smarter, we are in trouble. And as we are reminded of every day, the world has big challenges, and solutions are far from obvious. I worry about climate change, degradation, labor and jobs, income inequality and poverty, cybersecurity, physical security, but to name a few. As a species with 7.5 billion people on our small planet, whose ancestors have been making tools for the past 2.5 million years, we have become truly interconnected and interdependent, perhaps in a way not unlike when we first emerged from the African continent. And like our ancient ancestors, we are on an uncertain trajectory together, and we will need all our wits about us, and certainly more, to achieve a positive future outcome. If we are to solve the world's biggest challenges, then we must, amongst other things, strive to further develop tools that will augment our cognitive abilities on a collective basis. Elon Musk inspires us to tackle difficult issues and to keep our eyes on the big challenges. Andrew Ng suggests that we use AI tools to transform our society and make life better for everyone. But let's not leave all the excitement to Musk and Ng to shape our future. Perhaps an individual in this room today will play a significant role in guiding our evolution towards augmented human ability. As Shimon Peres stated, we must appreciate our greatest advantage, our minds. Imagine the possibilities if we get this right. Thank you very much.